Over the last few years, my understanding of filmmaking significantly changed. While back then I focused mainly on making things look good on camera, today my goal with every video is to tell a compelling and authentic story. And as a storytelling aspect became a more and more important part of my work, I realized that I needed an organized structure for my videos in order to turn these complex stories into reality. Back then, I used to draft my ideas in Apple Notes, write my scripts in Google Docs, and plan my shot lists in Google Sheets. Overall, my workflow was pretty inefficient and messy, as all of these informations were stored on different platforms, even though they all belonged to the same project. But around 6 months ago, I discovered a program called Notion, which unified all of these programs in an incredibly simple way. It completely changed the way I organize my work and massively helped me to put bigger video projects into action. And today I'm going to walk you through my workflow and the different systems I developed within Notion in order to help you plan and organize your own videos. So, this was one of the most requested videos. You guys sent me hundreds of comments and also emails asking that I should share my Notion workflow on how I plan my videos. And then I reached out to Notion with all of this feedback, and I'm happy to say that this video is sponsored by Notion. So for everybody who doesn't know Notion yet, how does it work? So Notion is an all-in-one platform which basically allows you to do anything. You can take notes, create different lists like to-do lists with checkboxes, bullet points, numbered lists, or toggle lists. You can build different pages and create databases which allow you to show one and the same information in a variety of layouts. You can also embed photos and videos by just dragging and dropping the files or pasting a link into Notion. And there are a ton of other things you can do. So Notion offers almost any tool you can imagine, and it's completely up to you to build your own systems and create your own workflow with these tools. To be honest, I only scratched the surface of what this platform is capable of, but I already saw a huge impact on my productivity and also my clarity of mind, because I just don't have to jump in between different programs like I did before. So there are basically two main ways to build up your organization workflow within Notion, and the first one is you just use a blank page, and with a / you can choose between different kinds of blocks, and blocks are all of the things that I just mentioned, like to-do lists, numbered lists, databases, and you can just add them to your page, and you can also divide those blocks into different sections by just dragging and dropping them. So everything is just very intuitive and you will quickly understand how everything works. Or as a second way, you can just choose one of the thousands of templates which are either created by Notion themselves or by other people in the community. And as more and more people are starting to use Notion, I was surprised that so many of you guys already use it. We can only expect the number of templates to grow. Also, if you're just searching for an overall very specific workflow, you can search for Notion on YouTube, and there will be a lot of creators sharing their workflow just like I do here, and oftentimes they will include a link to their template in the description so you can use their workspace as well. And obviously you will also find a link to my workspace in the description so you can use it for yourself if you want to. But first off, I'm just going to show you how I organize everything. So right now we are here on my homepage, which is the first thing I open up each morning, and up here I have two different sections. So one is the creative section and the other one is the organizational section. So I basically organize anything which needs some sort of structure or organization within Notion. So it would be my videos, my ideas, my sponsorships, online shop and product development, also my taxes and overall notes. But today we're going to focus on the creative aspect, and I'm going to walk you through how I plan all of my different videos. So it always starts in the ideas page. So as soon as I have a new video idea, I just come here to my ideas page and I just want to write it down in the most simple way without too much planning and organization, just the overall idea. And that's why I created 3 different columns for the different topics that I create videos about on my channel. So for me, that would be filmmaking, self-development, and travel content. And for each individual idea, I just create a new toggle list, like for example, how to find your passion or 6 tips to become a full-time filmmaker. And with all of these toggle lists, you can just click on the arrow and then it will unfold, and then I can add different bullet points within that toggle list where I just briefly explain what the idea is about. And that's actually everything I do on this page. I think that it is very important to not overcomplicate that first step of your creative workflow. It's just about getting your ideas into the program and remembering them. You don't need to organize everything straight away, but you just have to keep it simple, or else you won't write down some of your ideas because it will just be too much effort. And the time where I have my most ideas are actually when I'm on the go and I just have some freedom to let my mind wander. Like, for example, when I'm on the train and I have nothing else to do, that's when I get my best ideas. And the cool thing is that your Notion workspace syncs across all of your devices automatically. So I can also access everything through my phone, or also through an iPad, or through my laptop. And that is a really handy thing, because if I'm on the train and if I have an idea, I can just immediately write it down in my ideas list with my phone. You can also access all of your pages on the left side here, and I'm just going to click on YouTube videos, and this is where my video project database lies in. So for each idea that I want to turn into a video, I just create a new project. So all of these different titles here are different projects. And up here for all of the individual columns, I have different properties that I fill out for every single project, which would be informations like a video number that exactly matches the video number of all of my projects in my folder structure. So for example, if we look at what's in my camera bag 2021, we can find it with the same video number in my database. As the second property, I have the video title, then I have the niche of the video that you just saw in the ideas tab. So I'm just going to select if it's either filmmaking, self-development, or travel content. Then I have the status of the project, which allows me to keep track at which point I'm currently at with this project. So I can choose between research and planning, scripting, filming, editing, or published. And that basically just shows me where I'm at with this project. Then I have a sponsor. If a video is sponsored, I'm just going to add the sponsor right here. You can also add new options by just typing in here. So for example, if we would say Nike, I just create Nike, and then I also have the option to choose Nike as a sponsor for this video. Next up, I have the publish date. So if I already know when the video is going to be published, I'm just going to select the date here. And last but not least, I have the URL. So as soon as a video is published, I'm just going to copy the YouTube link into this property, and that way I can easily just open up the link if I want to get back to this video. Just like that. So with all of these different properties, I just have a very quick overview of the most important informations about my video projects. And it's also super easy to add new columns. You just have to click on the plus in the top right corner here, and then you can just easily select one of the different property types, like for example a text, number, select, a multi-select, where you can just add multiple different choices, like if you have two different sponsors on a project, date, person, files and media, checkboxes, all kinds of stuff, and that way you can easily build up your database. And as soon as I chose one of the ideas that I wrote down on my list, I'm just going to create a new video project by clicking up here on new, and then I'm just going to type in the title of the video. So let's say, for example, how to fly FPV drones. Then I can just add all of the different properties that you saw in the individual columns. And as soon as I filled out all of these properties and I go back to my database, you will see that now here is the new project with all of the different properties populated in the different columns. By the way, if you're wondering what all of these X's mean, these are ideas that I want to do for sure, and where I also already do some research on planning or scripting, but I don't have a dedicated publish date yet. And the cool thing about all of these properties is that you can easily filter and sort all of the video projects within your database. So for example, I can click on filter up here and add a new filter, and then I can select the property. So for example, niche is only self-development. So now I would see only the video projects that are about self-development. And I can also sort these projects, for example, by video number descending. That's what I always have as a default, so that all of the video numbers are in the correct order. So I just deactivated all of the filter and sort options. And another powerful thing about databases is that you can preview all of these informations with specific views. So I, for example, have another view called published videos. And with that, I have specific filters and sort options already applied. So you can save filter and sort options that you use on a regular basis. And also you can use different layouts. So for example, if I select project status as a view, then you see I have a new layout which is kind of similar to Trello. So I can just drag and drop one project to the next status. So if I come from research and planning and I want to start scripting the video, I'm just going to drag it in here. And as soon as I start filming, I'm just going to drag it into the next one. And in this way, with this layout, I can just easily track where I'm at within my project. Another view that I sometimes use is a calendar view, and with this I can, for example, see the different publishing dates and when my videos are scheduled, which is also kind of nice to see. So I hope that you're not overwhelmed so far, but it gets even better than that. So this video project database might look like a simple spreadsheet, but it is much more than that, because you can open up every single video project to its own page by just clicking on open, and you can also click on open as page, and then you can just add all of the different blocks that you want to have in that video project. Like for example, a to-do list, and I just say research for different FPV types, something like that. And you can just add all of the different blocks you want to have within that project. But as all of my video projects have a similar structure, I created a template for my YouTube video. So I just click on YouTube template. So what it does then is that it automatically adds all kinds of different blocks and sections that I created before. And now I can use this structure to organize my video project. So let's actually go back to my video database and select a project so that I can show you how this works. So let's, for example, select how to find your passion, which was one of the most complex projects that I did so far. So I really needed to organize this one. So down here, I have 3 different toggle lists to organize some overall information, like the title ideas, thumbnail ideas, and sponsor information. So if I open up one of them, here I write down all kinds of titles which could work well for this YouTube video. In the thumbnail ideas, I can just describe what the thumbnail should look like, and I can also embed different photos which are similar to the one I'm looking for. And in the sponsor information, I will just add the URL and CTA, the call to action, of what things I should talk about with this sponsor. But as I didn't have a sponsor for this video, there is nothing added here. As I scroll down, I have 2 main sections, which is the content and the checklists. And in the content, I have research and notes. So this is basically for brainstorming. I will just write down anything that comes to my mind for structuring the video. And then I have the script of the video. With my checklist, I have an editing checklist and a publishing checklist. I have a film schedule, and I have a shot list where everything is defined very, very specifically. And now I'm just going to walk you through the different parts of my video project. So let's just open up the script. And as I said before, my How to Find Your Passion video was definitely one of the most complex videos I did, because I had some different talking parts. I also had a small cinematic side story where I was like searching for that passion, searching for that light. Also, I had some different overlays like animations and just a lot of different stuff. So I really needed to organize it. And to do that, I basically separate my videos always into different chapters. Like for example, the introduction. Then I explain what passion actually is. Then I talk about the benefits of passion. And this really helps to just have different chapters for the overall story. And as you can see, I sometimes have bullet points, and sometimes I also have continuous text blocks. And those continuous text blocks would be, for example, voiceovers or also scripted talking parts where I just sit in front of the camera and I know exactly what I want to say. And those bullet points would be more for improvised talking parts where it should just be more authentic and natural, and I just give myself some freedom to add some other things in there. Also, I structure my different text blocks by just clicking on those 3 dots and changing the color of them. You can change the color of the text itself, and you can also change the background of it. So for example, yellow background, and then the whole block changes. And in this way, I, for example, determined that gray blocks are always voiceovers for the side story, and brown blocks are voiceovers for normal overlays like animations or stock video. And all of the default text blocks are parts where I'm just sitting in front of the camera. Another thing to separate those different sections is that I switch to italic text as soon as I describe a B-roll. So for all of my videos, I have A-roll and B-roll. So A-roll are all of the parts where I'm sitting in front of the camera and I'm talking to the camera, and B-roll is all of the overlays that I'm showing. So for example, when I'm walking towards the light source, or if I want to show a specific stock video of something that I'm explaining, that would be B-roll. And by the time I open up the script in order to shoot the A-roll parts of my videos, I immediately know that all of the parts without any color are the parts that I have to say in front of the camera, while the colored blocks I can just record the voiceovers afterwards. Obviously, the complexity of my scripts varies from video to video. So for example, if I do a vlog, I will just have a bullet point list with some things that I want to mention and talk about, while with other videos where I'm really trying to tell a cinematic story, I have everything scripted and sorted in a very organized way. As soon as the script is done, I define the visual side of my story by writing a shot list which holds all kinds of information on the shots I need to capture and how and where to capture them. So we're just going to head back to the overall project, and I'm going to scroll down, and here we can find the shot list. So the shot list again is a database within Notion, and up here we have the different properties. So the first one would be the chapter, where you can find all of the chapters which exactly match the ones in my script, and I can just easily select the one for which this shot would be used. So if I scroll down, you see all of the different chapter in the right order, and for these I just define the different shots. In the second property goes the description of the shot, where I just describe what's happening in front of the camera. So for example, waking up from dream, being surprised. Then I have tags, where I specify what kind of shot it is that I want to capture, if it is A-roll, B-roll, stock video that I'm downloading from stock sites on the internet, a screen recording that I'm recording on my laptop, an animation that I create in After Effects, or a photo, so for example a thumbnail or Instagram post. Next up is the shot section, where I just define the focal length of my shot, so if it's going to be a macro shot, close up, medium or wide shot. Then the frames per second, where I can just choose between 25, 50, 100 and 200 FPS, so I know exactly if my shot should be in slow motion. Next I have comments, which are notes on the camera movement or framing. So for this one it would be transition from dream, turning left/up with head movement. So this was like a transition where I would wake up from a dream and I would land in another world, so I just wrote down those notes so that I know how to perform the shot. Then I have the location, where I also have a selection property, and I have specific locations where the shot is going to take place. And last but not least, I have a checkbox if the shot was already captured. So what I usually do when I finish my script, then I just open it up in a separate browser window and I just define the shot list paragraph for paragraph. And for these shot lists, I also created different views, just like I did with my video projects database. So I can just click up here where I have the overview. I have one which is called to shoot. If I just click on that, I only see the shots which are not checked off yet. A-roll, which are only the A-roll parts, only the B-roll parts, and only the photos that I have to capture, like the thumbnail, for example. So adding all of these different informations into such a detailed shot list is definitely a time-consuming task, but it also has a lot of benefits, because if you bring the shot list with you on the shoot, you know exactly what kind of things you need to capture, where you need to capture them, how you need to capture them, and it's just a lot of help, and it will definitely improve your storytelling. And there are basically two different ways on how I take the shot list with me on set. And the first one is to either bring my laptop or an iPad with me on the shoot, where I can just look at all of the different shots and check them off, because most of the time your phone is going to be too small for such a detailed database. Or the second option is to just export the shot list into a PDF, which you can easily do within Notion, and then I just airdrop this one onto my phone, and then it's a lot easier to look through all of the different things that I need to capture. And if we only have a limited time to shoot, or we have some strict timings, or I really want the shoot to be organized, I also create something called a film schedule, in which I define the date, time, location, and also the people who are going to be there with me in order to shoot that specific piece. And what's really cool is that you can also share those projects with other people, so they can access all the same information. So I just go up here to share, and as you can see, this project is shared with Patricio, with who I shot the How to Find Your Passion video. And in this way, you can just easily give other people access to all the same informations within Notion. So they have access to the script, the shot list, the film schedule, so everybody's up to date. And it's just a very easy way to collaborate with other people as well. And as soon as I took care of my script, shot list and film schedule, then I'm ready to shoot my video. And as soon as I come back into the editing, I have two other helpful checklists. The first one is the editing checklist, and I use this one when I'm editing the video workflow. So it says things like import footage to Premiere Pro, screen footage, watch through video to check for good flow, sound design, color grading, and all that kind of stuff. So all the different points that are included in my editing workflow. I don't use this checklist too often anymore because I'm just very used to how my workflow is. But another checklist that I use a lot is the publishing checklist. So as soon as my video is done and it's rendered out, I just open up the publishing checklist, and there I can see the different points I need to take care of in order to get everything right, because a lot of times you will forget something with all of the different things you have to do when you upload a YouTube video. So it starts with uploading the YouTube video, adding a thumbnail, adding a title, adding tags, end cards, video cards, so many different things you need to take care of, and I definitely don't want to forget any of these different steps. So I can easily just come to this list, check off the different to-dos one after another, and I'm sure that I don't forget any of these steps. What I like to do with my videos, if I'm currently working on them, is to add them to my favorites, and then they will just appear here on my favorites, and I have a quick access to all of these projects. And as soon as the project is done, I just change the status to published, and I'm finally done with this project.
Yes! 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 We did it! God, I feel so good. We did it, man. You're a goddamn rock star.
I hope it was helpful to see how I plan and organize all of my videos, and if you don't have a Notion account so far, I highly recommend you to get one, because this platform is super powerful. I really like it, and also it is completely free to get an individual personal subscription, which is kind of mind-blowing. You can sign up through the link in the description, and if you want to use my Notion workspace in order to get you started, you can also find a clean version of the one that I just showed you and simply duplicate it into your own workspace. Yeah, also make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications if you don't want to miss out on any of the upcoming videos, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.